Hi, in this video, we will solve example sums for calculation and treatment of deceased partner's share of profit or loss up to the date of death. We'll begin by using the first method based on time. So let's go to the first example sum. Example sum 1. Raman, Daman and Karan were partners sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2:1. Daman died on 30th June 2020. Raman and Karan decided to continue the business. Share of profit or loss of the deceased partner from the beginning of the year up to the date of death was to be determined on the basis of last year's profit, which was rupees 3,60,000. We are asked to pass the necessary journal entries to record Daman's share of profit or loss up to the date of death. We'll begin by doing the working notes. So Daman's share in profit up to date of death it is based on the previous year's profit, which is 3,60,000 rupees, multiplied by, we will get the profits from 1st April 2020 to 30th June 2020, the 3 months. So that's 3 divided by 12. And this we will multiply with Daman's share in profits, which is 2 divided by 6. So we get rupees 30,000. There is no change in the NPSR between the continuing partners, Raman and Karan. It continues to be between Raman and Karan continues to be 3:1. So we'll pass the journal entry through profit and loss suspense account. Solution, journal, we have date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The date of death of Daman is 30th June 2020. Profit and loss suspense account debit, to Daman's capital account. Amount as calculated 30,000 rupees. Narration being Daman's share in profit up to date of death credited to his capital account. So this is the answer for the first example sum. Let's go to the second example sum. Example sum 2. Sanjay, Ajay and Karan were partners sharing profits in the ratio of 3:2:1. Karan died on 31st July 2020. Sanjay and Ajay decided to continue the business. Share of profit or loss of the deceased partner from the beginning of the year up to the date of death was to be determined on the basis of last year's profit. Last year's loss was rupees 1,80,000. We are asked to pass the necessary journal entry to record current share of profit or loss up to the date of death. So we'll begin with the working notes. Current's share of loss up to date of death based on the previous year's profit or loss. Previous year's loss is 1,80,000 rupees multiplied by, we'll get it for the number of months in the current year, which is 1st April 2020 to 31st July 2020. 4 months, 4 divided by 12, multiplied by current share in profit is 1 divided by 6. Comes up to rupees 10,000. There is no change in the new profit sharing ratio of the continuing partners Sanjay and Ajay. It continues to be equal to 3:2. So the journal entry will be passed through the P&L suspense account. Solution. Journal. Date. Particulars. LF number. Debit rupees and credit rupees. Date of Karan's death is 31st July 2020. It's a loss, so we need to debit Karan's capital account. And credit profit and loss suspense account. Amount 10,000 rupees. Narration. Being Karan's share of loss up to date of death debited to his capital account. So this is the answer to the example sum 2. Since it's a loss, we had to debit the deceased partner's capital account and credit profit and loss suspense account. Example sum 3. Ram, Manohar and Param were partners in a firm. Param died on 29th February 2020. His share of profit from the closure of the last accounting year till the date of death was to be calculated on the basis of the average of 3 completed years of profits before death. Profits for the years ended 31st March 2017, 2018 and 2019 were rupees 80,000, rupees 90,000 and rupees 1 lakh respectively. We are asked to calculate Param's share of profit till the date of death and pass the journal entry for the same when first case profit sharing ratio of the remaining partners does not change. Second case, profit sharing ratio of the remaining partners changes, and the new ratio is 3:2. So we'll begin with the working notes to find out Param's share in profit. Param's share in profit up to date of death is equal to the average of 3 years profits multiplied by Param dies on 29th February 2020. So the current accounting year is from 1st April 2019 to 29th February 2020. So that's 11 months. So multiplied by 11 divided by 12 and multiplied by Param's share in the profit. There is no mention of the profit sharing ratio, so we assume it's equal. So Param's share in profit will be 1 divided by 3. So this can further be written as the average profits is 80,000 plus 90,000 rupees plus 1 lakh rupees divided by 3, which is again 90,000 rupees, multiplied by 11 divided by 12 into 1 divided by 3. It's 2,500 multiplied by 11, which is rupees 27,500. We'll deal with the first case. Case 1, journal. Date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. Now in the first case, there is no change in the profit sharing ratio of the remaining partners. So we'll pass the journal entry through profit and loss suspense account. Date of death of Param is 29th February 2020. Profit and loss suspense account debit to Param's capital account. Amount 27,500 rupees. Narration being Param's share of profit up to date of death credited to his capital account. So this is the answer for the first case. Let's go to case 2. Case 2 says the profit sharing ratio of the remaining partners changes and the new ratio is equal to 3:2. Now there's a change in the profit sharing ratio. We need to debit 27,500 not to profit and loss suspense account but to the gaining partners in their gaining ratio. So we'll go forward and calculate the gain of the gaining partners so that we can get their gaining ratio. As per the problem, old profit sharing ratio between Ram, Manohar and Param is equal to 1:1:1. The deceased partner is Param. New profit sharing ratio between Ram and Manohar as given in case 2 is 3:2. So let's do old share minus new share. For Ram, old share 1/3 minus the new share 3 divided by 5. A negative 4 divided by 15, it's a gain. For Manohar, old share 1 divided by 3 minus the new share 2 divided by 5, 1 divided by 15, and Manohar also gains. Hence the gaining ratio between Ram and Manohar is equal to 4/15 is to 1/15 or 4:1. So let's go ahead with the solution to case 2. The date of death of Param is 29th February 2020. We need to debit the gaining partners. Ram capital account debit, Manohar capital account debit, to Param capital account. Against Param capital account, Param share in profits up to the date of his death, 27,500 rupees. And in the case of Ram, it's 27,500 multiplied by his gain ratio, which is 4 divided by 5. And for Manohar, it's 27,500 multiplied by 1 divided by 5. It's 5,500 Manohar's capital account and 22,000 rupees against Ram's capital account. Narration being Param's share in profits up to date of death credited to his capital account and debited to gaining partners in gaining ratio. So this is the answer to the second case. Example sum 4. Amar, Bhuvan and Chaman were partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 3:2:1. Bhuvan died on 30th June 2020. The loss from the beginning of the accounting year till the date of his death was estimated at rupees 1,80,000. Amar and Chaman decided to share future profits in the ratio of 3:2 with effect from 1st April 2020. Pass the necessary journal entry to record Bhuvan's share of profit or loss up to the date of his death. We'll begin with the working notes. The loss from the beginning of the accounting year till the date of Bhuvan's death is estimated at rupees 1,80,000. So to get Bhuvan's share in the loss up to the date of death, we will take the total estimated loss, which is rupees 1,80,000, and multiply this by Bhuvan's share in profits, which is 2 divided by 6, comes to rupees 60,000. There is a change in the profit sharing ratio among the continuing partners, Amar and Chaman. So we need to find out the gaining ratio. Let's do that. OPSR between Amar, Bhuvan and Chaman is 3:2:1. The deceased partner is Bhuvan. Further, the new profit sharing ratio between Aman and Chaman is given as 3:2. So let's do old share minus new share. For Amar, old share 3/6 minus the new share 3 divided by 5. We get a negative 3 divided by 30 and Amar gains. For Chaman, old share 1/6 minus the new share 2 divided by 5. We have a negative 7 divided by 30 and Chaman also gains. So we can infer that the gaining ratio between Amar and Chaman is equal to 3/30:7/30 or 3:7. Let's go ahead with the solution. Journal. Date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The date of Bhuvan's death is 30th June 2020. Bhuvan has a share of loss, so we need to reverse the entry. We will debit Bhuvan's capital account. Debit with his share of loss up to the date of death, which is 60,000 rupees, and credit the gaining partners for the 60,000 in gaining ratio to Amar's capital account and to Chaman capital account. In the case of Amar, it's 60,000 rupees multiplied by his gain ratio, which is 3 divided by 10. And the case of Chaman, it's 60,000 rupees multiplied by 7 divided by 10. 18,000 in the case of Aman and 42,000 rupees in the case of Chaman. Narration being Bhuvan's share of loss up to date of death debited to his capital account and credited to the gaining partners capital accounts in gaining ratio. So this is the answer to the fourth example sum. Example sum 5. A, B and C are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 3:2:1. B died on 30th June 2020. For the year ended 31st March 2021, proportionate profit of 2020 is to be taken into consideration. During the year ended 31st March 2021, bad debts of rupees 2,000 had to be adjusted. Profits for the year ended 31st March 2020 was rupees 14,000 before the adjustment of bad debts. We are asked to calculate B's share of profit till the date of his death and also pass the necessary journal entry. We'll begin with the working notes. The profits for the year ended 31st March 2021 is to be equal to the profits for the year ended 31st March 2020, which is rupees 14,000. So profits for year ended 31st March 2020, as per the problem, it's given as rupees 14,000. Profits for year ended 31st March 2021 is estimated at the same rupees 14,000, but we need to make the adjustments for the bad debts of rupees 2,000. So we'll subtract the bad debts amount of rupees 2,000 and we get the answer as rupees 12,000. Next, B share in profits up to the date of his death. We'll take the estimated profits for that year, which is 12,000 rupees, multiplied by B dies on 30th June 2020. So the number of months from 1st April 2020 to 30th June 2020 is 3 months. So multiplied by 3 divided by 12 and multiplied by B share in profits, which is 2 divided by 6. Comes to rupees 1,000. So B share in profits up to the date of his death is rupees 1,000. There is no change in the NPSR between the continuing partners A and C. So we'll pass the journal entry through profit and loss suspense account. Solution: journal, date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The date of B's death is 30th June 2020. Journal entry: profit and loss suspense account debit. To B's capital account. Amount 1000 rupees. Narration: being B's share in profits up to the date of death credited to his capital account. So this is the answer to the fifth example sum.